already got down 1 through 9. That was September. They say September is Virgo. They say Virgo is like the rebirth energy or something like that. But then that also goes to Christmas or Christ, right? So, but really, if you was to say September is the end of the year and the restart is 1, 2, 3, uh, October, November, December. So December will be like March, springtime. So that would make sense of when Christ came in the spring. But at the same time, it could still match up on the December because of a cycle. If you keep doing it over and over again, it will match up in a different month. That's why you would know by the alignments above. So it's good. Like me, I used to be like, I'm not really into astrology because all I really knew was like some Google shit, and Google tell you, oh, this is how your day gonna be and stuff like that. So I used to be like, I feel like everyone, if I was to put a different sign on that message, that other person would still feel that message. So I was like, I'm not into that shit. Because really, niggas be acting the same way. They just be having different signs, but they also have different characteristics. But that's like me meeting someone else. That's how I used to think. Like me, I meet someone else. They might be good at this, that, I might be good at this. They might look different. I might look, shit like that. But now, I'm starting to peep that it has something to do with the cycle, right? These alignments and all that. But I'm seeing it's a deeper cycle. Like the sun cycle has a cycle of phases. But then the sun cycle has a 369 cycle that hits different planets and different planets. But really, those are stars. It's just you can live on a star like a planet. It's just far away. It looks like a star. Like the sun is definitely you could, yeah. But it's also a portal too. It's a lot to it. It does a lot, just like how you can do a lot once you tap into your cycle, because this is your cycle. Like if you look at my symbol, it has the delta down. Delta is the Greek alphabet, fourth letter in the alphabet. We're gonna break that down too, but that's the fourth letter in the alphabet as capital D. So when you see capital D, and we're reading shit in English, right? So if you see capital D and like medical science and all that shit, look it up, because it's gonna have a different meaning that's attached to that one symbol, right? Is because they try to use. That's how they use shit. They reverse everything, right? Because really that delta, right? They know this. This is why they're naming it. Because delta means denoting new energy cycle. Variant means changing in one's DNA sequence for positive or negative. But if it has an interference in the cell subdivision, then yeah, we're gonna get into that though. But like Delta also, when they had B117, now they got some comet that's close to that, or a flare called B11 something. That's dealing with the grand finale that's about to happen. Cause like in the Greek chart, that's the 369. That's the 369. Cause there's no number greater than 9. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the first level. The second level is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. That's the second level. Third level is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, then 1,000. Then it goes to the fourth. But really, the fourth is like saying 12, because it's 4 elements, right? Plus the fifth, plasma, and you being the heart. So then the 6 is the blood, Then you have your metals and shit like that. But that's some whole other stuff. So let's just get into this wordplay shit, right? So this little story is kind of corny, a little bit, but I wrote this shit last year, and I always told myself I'm gonna do this shit right. So apparently I gotta pay $10 a month for space, since I was wasting time since May. I've really been slipping, but I already knew it was spiritual warfare, so I still been tapping in, staying aware. It's just I peeped what brother Yusuf was saying. Since that lunar eclipse, you're gonna have to sit back and observe a lot of shit. At the same time, take some energy in. Don't lose it. You learn some shit from last year about gaining your energy back, or any way you can do that doesn't interfere you, then tap into that. My way is imagination, grounding, and getting solar, getting below, above, and conscious wise, I use my imagination to, get right. So let's say this little corny little story. This is a story, YouTube. This is a story about some people who are ruling the world. That's all. I'm not saying it's the U.S. or the Kabbalah or anything like that. I'm not saying none of that shit. Or the bloodlines of the family. Goddamn. I'm not saying none of that. But maybe that's what they were saying. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's what she's saying. Maybe that's what he's saying. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Who gives a fuck? I'm gonna say this story. People wanna hear it. So fuck off. Anyways. Alright, so the DNA Act of 2020, but really everything, like, if you go back 9 years from like 2020, 2021, and 2022, go 9 years back every time, but really 2021, we go 9 years back from that, it's going to be a significant event. If it's not on that year, most likely it will. It's going to be, because they always do it from the years leading up to that 9th, and then they chill and start some new shit. That's why it's been new phases coming back, and they say, yeah, shit come back around. Yeah, because we're dealing with a cycle, and they know we're dealing with a cycle. But the thing is, when you're dealing with a cycle, you're dealing with energies. So if you know, it's a science experiment, but I'm hood scientist, so look, this is a science experiment. So if you know that you're dealing with a cycle, but these people are consciously asleep, reasoning they could get you to a 10%, because it's a conscious and a physical thing. You have to attack both to attack the light, right? It's like a battery. You have to attack the left side and the right side. That's why on the grid is a cross. So meaning you got 4 spaces in the grid, but really that's representing the parallels, because 2 lines that were parallel actually crossed, right? And it made an X. That's when the golden energy was around. When it went from the X, it made a cross, and then it did, that's when everything split. So when it's actually coming to an X right now, or if it's not already in an X or getting to it, it's going to lead up. When all this shit's over, it's going to make the Gemini sign. It's going to be 2 parallels that connect above. You see how the U is up and then the U down. That's talking about above and below. The 2 parallels is talking about connecting parallels together, both sides of the shit. Because that's like your body. Like from your chakras, you got your upper body, you got your lower body. That's up top. You got a U. If you put your hands up, that makes a omega. That's a U. And then your body is like the stem, then your legs is another U. That's below. So that means your body could connect. Like when you put your hands up, your hands, they're white because you can absorb the sunlight. You feel me? You can absorb it from above, and while you're in the ground, you're absorbing it through your feet because they're light, because they're the biggest absorbers in your body and your eyes. So it's like once you do some shit like that, now you're tapping in to the cycle physically, but that shit helps you mentally because your cells, it's a physical and mental thing. It's a double, right? Because it helps your cells, right? You're connecting your cells to above and below, but it's like like the time lapse shit with the sand, and you flip it upside down and it drops slowly. It's kind of like that's really how the cycle is, but it's like coming from above and below, but it's like it keeps coming around like the clock, the circle, but the circle represents the pi, right? Which is also an energy, but it represents the pi, because when you have a circle, right, it taps in to energies. Like that's why niggas with witchcraft and shit, they make a circle around them. Well, not even witchcraft, just black magic, just magic period. Make a circle around it, right? And then they have the star, right? That 6-point star, because that's actually how the planet, that's how the grid really looks on the planet. It's a 6-point star. And then above, it's the same shit. But the 6-point star is like a maze. So if you was to make maybe like 3, like a circle in the middle, circle and like that, and then another circle and another circle, probably like 9 little circles till you get to the outer edge. That would be like the maze, right? So one cycle is going counterclockwise, and then the next level is going this way, then the next level is going that way. It's a cycle. It's kind of like Divergent or Mockingbird, whatever that was, and the shit got the spinning in different ways, like the maze that they were trying to escape. That's how the grid is. That's why the current actually goes different ways. It actually goes like your brain wave, right? It actually goes like your brain wave, right? And that's natural shit, right? So now that the magnetic field is breaking, is starting to go back to normal. It's not that the magnetic field is breaking and is not normal. It's the magnetic field that was built wasn't supposed to be there, right? So now that it's breaking down, whatever seems like it's hot just because your ass is toxic physically and most likely mentally, because the shit they be pushing. So meaning that if your mental is toxic and your physical is toxic, you're going to get hot and aggravated. The more it gets hot, it's really not even hot outside, because the North Pole air is actually coming down this way from that cycle because the magnetic field is breaking. It's like a tornado type shit at the North Pole. So that shit's breaking. The UV is rising. You feel me? So however you're feeling at that moment, it can intensify your thoughts. So if you're in a root, it can intensify that mental thought in a root. And if that is a low frequency thought, that can actually destroy areas, well, in a faster process in the root area, stomach area, or anything like that, because you're dealing with cells physically and you're dealing with cells mentally. It's metaphysics when you're dealing with a meta-human. But that's just how it is, because you're a grid. Or if you put your hands across, put your feet together, you're a cross. You put your hands slightly like this, you can make an X with your body. And then you make a U with your body. Now you looking like how they was back then. But how do you think Jesus or whoever they said hands were made of bronze? How do you think they even look bronze? Most of them did use bronze like gear because it conducted a lot of UV, which helped them conduct UV. Feel me? Like even more like crystals and stuff. It harness energy from the sun, just like you can. So it's a whole part of the elemental beings. So like that being said, dang, what did I just say? I be everywhere, but I be hating that shit, bro. But that being said, let's just tell the story. Alright, so the DNA Act of 2019 really is 2020, right? I wrote this 2021. Alright, so COVID-19 was released January 21st, 2020. The symbolism in the date, their symbolism, they always name shit. That's why they rename shit, to put a little meaning. And then a lot of that shit be having mockery because it was some real nigga shit going on that we taught them, and they had to reverse it because they know that our memory, our DNA makes our memory forever. So whatever they try to hide, they can't hide. So it's like, that's like the planet. So if the planet getting its natural UV back, like our body is built to have natural shit. So as this shit is breaking down, natural shit is coming back. So that's making our cells interact the way it's supposed to, especially if you're on a good physical diet. Like people could still, like that could help you physically, but like mentally, it's part of the ascension, like to unlock the light. So it's like, it's really not an ascension thing. It's like, nigga, where the fuck? It's like once you get right, it'd be like, nigga, where the fuck you been at? Like, we been waiting, nigga. It's time to get right. And you just start remembering shit, like, cause your DNA is starting to repair, right? That's why they had to make fear in your mental so you can take some shit to destroy your physical. Because if you could destroy the mental, keep it in a low frequency, which is a man-made emotion, because you come from the heart mentally, and you come from the heart in the physical, nigga. That's the first thing after that sperm grows, and it starts from the heart. Like, so that's just an example of mental, physical. And heart frequency, you have to tap into that to even extend. So it's like, if you can't get your bottom chakras in the right frequency, it's going to seem like a roller coaster when it comes to love and shit. And it's going to fuck with your thought, because it's not working separately. It works in hand in hand, just like what it works above works below. So when you're interrupting shit, it makes a disconnection. And that's what's been going on this planet too long. It's been too much interruption, and the time is up. They can't even take this energy to even manipulate. But they definitely gonna try, because they actually got the knowledge to do it. They don't have the mental knowledge, but they have physical knowledge in front of them to do this, that, and the third. Meaning that they might fuck up, but it's families and shit. They just teach nigga, kill him, and then keep him rooting. Like, so anyways, let's get back to this, because I would love.